Hi there, welcome to Tuesday's lesson. In today's lesson, the start of it is going to be looking at adverbs. So I want you to think about what is an adverb. We have learned about adverbs before. Do you remember yesterday I told you what a verb was? I told you that a verb is a doing word, it's an action word, it tells you what to do. So what might an adverb's job be? It must do something to do with the verb because it's got verb in the name, but it's not saying what you're doing. An adverb tells you how to do that thing. So, for example, if I was jumping, jumping would be my verb. But if I was jumping quickly, then quickly would be my adverb because it describes to me how I do that thing. Okay? So we're going to have a look at some sentences and I want you to see if you can identify the adverb within the sentence. So see if you can spot what the adverb is. And then once you've found it, I'll let you know whether you're right or not. So sentence number one. Gently cover the table with a white skull tablecloth. What word is the adverb that tells you how to do something? Did you get it? The answer is gently. Well done if you got that right. The second one. Next, carefully cut the bright coloured tissue paper into small pieces and sprinkle over the tablecloth. So we know what to do there, but which word tells us how to do it? The word was carefully. Carefully was my adverb there that told me how to do that thing. For the third one, it says, then place the tall, long incense on the table and cautiously light it using a match. What's my adverb? It was cautiously. Well done if you got that right. The word cautiously means almost exactly the same as carefully, but it's quite a good word to use if you've already used carefully in your piece of writing. You don't want to repeat yourself by using the same word again and again. So using a different word like cautiously is a really good idea. Now we're going to have a second task where we're going to see if we can work out which of these adverbs would be best placed in each sentence. Each of these adverbs goes in a sentence and makes sense, but I wonder if you can get them in the right places. It says food is specially prepared for the souls and placed on the altar along with items representing the four elements. Firstly, light candles for the fire. Then turn on the tap and fill the jug with water. Select seasonal fruit and chop it into small pieces. Fruit symbolizes the earth. Now, those sentences do make sense as they are, even though there's a big gap there. They do make sense just the way they're written. But by adding that adverb in, it just gives a bit more detail about how I do each of those things. So, what do you think is going to go in the first place there? How are we going to light those candles for the fire? Are we going to slowly light the candles? Carefully? Cautiously? What about the second one? It says, then turn on the tap and fill the jug with water. Again, slowly, carefully, cautiously. What would I do? And then number three, select seasonal fruit and chop it into small pieces. How am I going to chop it into small pieces? Slowly, carefully, or cautiously? I think you'll probably agree that maybe some of those words could go in more than one of those sentences. But remember, we want to vary the words we're using. We don't want to use the same word again and again. So we're going to just put one in each place. So I think for the first one, how would I light the candles? Well, I'd need to be very, very careful when I'm doing that. So I'm going to plonk carefully in there. Do you agree with me? Or would you put something else there? For the second one, it says then turn on the tap and fill the jug with water. I think if I'm filling it with water, I would need to be careful. I would need to be cautious. But I think I'd need to do it slowly because if I do it slowly, I make sure that the jug won't overfill. So I'm going to put slowly there for the second one. Do you agree with me? Or would you put something different? And for the third one, select seasonal fruit and cautiously chop it into small pieces. Do we need to be cautious when we're chopping fruit? Well, absolutely, because we don't want to hurt ourselves. We don't want to cut our fingers. We also want to make sure that the fruit's cut correctly. So cautiously would be a good word to use there. You might have put them in a different order, but by putting those adverbs in, it just makes it a little bit clearer. Can you think of any other adverbs that we could have used instead? Maybe pause the video and have a think, and then once you've turned the video back on, I can show you some of the adverbs I've come up with that are really useful to put into instructions when we're making food. So the adverbs that I came up with, I wonder if you come up with some of them as well. Quickly, silently, slowly, carefully, gently, cautiously, happily, rapidly, which means the same as quickly, softly, and energetically when you're full of energy. Now, each of those words is a really, really good word to use in your instructions when you're making things really clear by using an adverb. But we don't want to use the same word again and again. So we've got a choice of 10 there that maybe you could try and remember some of them and put into your instructions when we do that in the future. So today, for our main task, we're going to be seeing if we can identify the key features of an instructional text. We looked at some instructions yesterday. We had a go at making a Mexican sombrero using those instructions. But today we're going to think about the actual features of the instructions and see if we can label those together. So we're going to see if we can read and understand an instructional text. We're going to see if we can name some of the features. We're going to see if we can recognize some of those features and find them. And we're going to maybe see if we can suggest ways to improve an instructional text, maybe by including a range of those features. So I've got a set of instructions on the screen there. You might want to pause it to have a read of it yourself, but I'm going to read through it really quickly just to make sure that you can follow along with my reading. Are we ready? So the title says Tasty Tacos. These instructions explain how to make delicious tacos for you and all of your friends. It will be yummy, or as the Mexican people say, muy bueno. They say muy bueno because that's Spanish and they speak Spanish in Mexico. Number 1. Firstly, preheat the oven to 200 degrees Celsius. 2. Secondly, heat oil slowly in a large pan over a medium heat. Next, add onion and cook for 3 minutes or until the onion is softened. 3. Next, carefully chop the beef using a spoon to brown all the sides. 4. After that, add Mexican spices and water. Stir vigorously and bring to the boil. Or vigorously, that's a good adverb. That means doing it with lots and lots of vigor, lots and lots of effort and energy into that. Then reduce the heat to medium-low and simmer gently for 8 to 10 minutes. Number 5. Meanwhile, place taco shells on a baking sheet in the center of the oven and heat for 3 to 5 minutes until lightly toasted. Number 6. Finally, place taco shells, meat, lettuce, tomatoes, cheese, salsa, and guacamole in separate serving dishes. Let everyone build their own tacos, starting with a little lettuce in the bottom of the taco shell. Top with ground beef, cheese, salsa, and guacamole. Well, I don't know about you, but I'm quite hungry now. I think maybe I might have a go at making some of those tacos later today. But those instructions are really, really clear. And if I was to label what those instructions had, then I think that it includes quite a lot of the features that we discussed yesterday. For your task, you're going to see if you can label your set of instructions with the following features: a title, a subheading, a top tip, adverb, numbered step, time connectives, conjunction for detail, and adjective. You don't have to find all of them. You can just find one or two of those features in your instructions, but I'm just going to model how to do that for you now. So I'm going to find the title. The title is quite an easy thing to find because normally we find it at the top. So I'm going to put there title. In fact, you know what? I'm just going to put T for title because unfortunately I'm using my mouse to write and it's very difficult to do that. So I'm just going to do T for title and you're just going to have to imagine that I've written the rest. Is that okay? Cool. The second thing is a subheading. Now, subheadings go there to split up your text into different parts, like we did with our non-chronological reports last week. Are there any subheadings here? No, there's not, is there? But in the instructions you've got, you might find a subheading. And if you do, that's what you're going to label with subheading. Is there a top tip? A top tip or a bit of advice normally goes at the bottom, normally says top tip or like helpful hint or something like that. And again, I don't think there's one in this text, but if it was to go somewhere, I'd probably find it at the bottom of my text. Adverbs. Oh, now I definitely found one of those because I talked about it while I was going through the instructions. I think it was instruction 4. Oh, here it is. So I'm going to underline the word and I'm going to write adverb there. So I'm going to label it with adverb. Oh dear, again, my mouse is really letting me struggle here. I'm just going to leave it as that, adv for adverb. You're going to write the full word though, because obviously you're using your hand, much easier than using a mouse. Let's do one more. Let's do the numbered steps. So that's quite an easy one to find. Numbered steps, circle that one there. circle that one there, and obviously circle all the other numbered steps as well, just to make it easier for you to understand where the numbered steps are. So, as I've said, you're going to have a go at doing that for your set of instructions, which is on DB Primary. If you just download the instructions underneath the video, and you can label these features which are on the video here. So you might want to pause the video on this slide here to see what you're going to be labeling. But obviously you need to download the instructions of how to make a set of fajitas and then label it with each of those things there. If you don't have access to a printer, something you can do is you can do what's called print screen. You can do either a screenshot if you're using a device, or press Control and print screen, and then that is a way of you basically copying whatever's on your page, and then you can paste it into a program like Paint, and then you can write on that. And like I did with my hand, it's quite difficult to do. What you could do instead, in fact, what I probably should have done is I probably should have used my text, shouldn't I? So if I've written the text here, I could label it with title. Oh, Mr. F, sort it out. Clearly, I need to be back in school teaching properly because my brain is not working when I'm doing it on Zoom. Anyway, I hope you have fun with your task. And if you have any problems, do feel free to email on DB Primary and we're happy to help you. Okay? Lovely. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful literacy lesson.